Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. I know this thing said 7, but I couldn't wait those extra 8 minutes. So, holy crap, this is the absolute. Listen, I'm saying I was here. I was here and I got to watch between the previous episode and this episode, in my opinion, episode 7 of the movie franchise. I just don't care about those other 7. I really don't. Or the final 3. No, this rewrites pretty much everything. This is just fantastic. This is a spoiler review. So, welcome to the spoiler review. Freaking Luke Skywalker. What did I tell you guys? I didn't know anything, no behind the scenes. I'm not freaking Grace Randolph who's going to be like, "Oh, I told you so. You should have listened." No, shut up with that nonsense. Look, real talk. I guessed, I was hoping, maybe, shucked in a couple of prayers in there, and it freaking came true. That's all I know. And I'm super excited over that. Dude, Luke Skywalker came. I don't know if we're ever going to see Grogu again. I'm sure that we will at some point or another. But for right now, when he, like, I just want to talk about the end of this. First off, it's a good thing that Boba Fett left in the beginning, right? It's a good thing. It's just like, I'm just here for this. I want to point out a couple things. Let's try and go a little bit in order, at least. First off, one dumb part of the freaking show. One stupid dumb part, but whatever. It's just a dumb thing. I can't afford to let this doctor die. So you back off or I'll kill him? Well, that didn't make any sense. Whatever, it's just a way for, the Alderaan thing to happen. I'm good with it. No complaints. I'm just pointing out I could see somebody doing something that dumb. Everything after that, though. Fett versus whatever her name is, Sasha Banks. Basically, it's Sasha Banks Fett, I guess. Like they're going out with each other. I'm thinking there's going to be a bunch of people who are going to be upset that she was able to overpower him because let's be realistic. There's just no way you're going to be able to overpower, a freaking full grown, powerful, powerhouse like Fett. I mean, he is the son of a clone trooper. The clone troopers were designed to be physically, superior to pretty much everybody out there naturally, right? My guess is, since we've never seen her without the armor, that she's actually got a bionic there. We saw Luke; he's got the bionic hand. So that's my presumption on this is that she's probably got a couple of bionics in her, specifically that one, because I mean she's strained, which indicates that she doesn't have it through her spine or down to at the very least her left leg, right? But when she was able to pull back like that, but she was struggling. I'm going to say that's probably what it is. A whole bunch of people pointing out in the previous episode when, what's his face, the Mando, when Din Djarin, when he took off the helmet, that he kept his Acor. What's up, brother? So he kept looking around like this, and he would fully face someone, almost like a robot, or turn his head or something like that, just like someone who was wearing armor the whole time, because you wouldn't have nearly the peripheral vision. I know it's something like with my son. I was never able to get glasses until a couple of years ago. I tried again, and oh my God, I'm able to lock onto a prescription. Before that, I couldn't. So I know that it's hard to maintain your peripheral vision with glasses on. It's weird. So I'm afraid that he's not going to have it so much. But that's basically what they're saying with the glasses, with the frame. You're going to focus forward, and you're going to turn your head more as opposed to turn your eyes, or really kind of just, even if you're looking forward, just kind of see out the side, right? So it was great that Din Djarin would do that. Pedro Pascal, right? Took off his helmet in the previous episode. Well, he took it off in this one too, and it was for, I guess, a good reason. He's seen so many different Mandalorians, and people kind of like Mandalorians. Hey, one step. It was interesting seeing all of this. Hey, Master Jarl. Remember, those people were behind him, but Luke Skywalker was in front of him, so whatever. But guys, there's just so much to this. Like, on the, once this kind of calms down, and right now it's hard to think how is any of this ever going to calm down, right? Oh my God, look at the returns! And did you guys see the after credits? There's an end credit scene. So I know that other people before the MCU did it, but I mean it's Jon Favreau, and Jon Favreau did the first two Iron Man movies, so that's where the end credit scene pretty much happened, right? So this is the way I look at it. Once the hype of the oh my God, look at the returns and look at this and that, I think we can start actually focusing on some of the little things. We can go back and watch it a second time and really see a lot of things. Case in point, the what do you call it? The Millennium Falcon? Let's go back to 444 and let me see if I can see the Millennium Falcon at 444. At 444, I do not see the Millennium Falcon. I'm not seeing any Millennium Falcon type things. Let me just leave this here and watch this again for a couple of seconds. Looking for it. I am seeing no Millennium Falcon. Oh, was that it down there? Did it pass over top of? That's a YT class ship. I don't know that it's the Millennium Falcon. That doesn't look like the Millennium Falcon. Nah, bruh. Sorry, that didn't happen. Anyway, thing about the Falcon, I doubt Boba Fett would ignore Han's ship. Yeah, exactly. He would have been like, hey, that's the biggest bounty ever. Granted, Jabba's dead, and he'd probably know that Jabba's dead. He's been around for like 5 years knowing this. Anyway, so sorry for that interlude. Essentially, the way I'm looking at this is, once I saw that X-Wing show up, I'm like, that's the Jedi. That's got to be. It was one. He's like, yay, we're saved. Well, yeah, you are. And I'm like, that's got to be the Jedi who's coming. I wonder if I hope it's going to be someone we know, and I kind of hope it's not going to be Ahsoka, because I feel like that would be a bit of a disappointment. Like, you were just there. Come on, this is goofy, right? But when he shows up and he just starts walking, I'm like, okay, sweet. I'm digging this. This really looks like Luke from, the Jabba's palace and stuff like that. And then he starts walking, and then you see he's got the gloved hand. I'm like, oh, well, maybe he's just wearing gloves on both of his hands. And then boom, green lightsaber. I'm like, no, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Like the whole time, I'm just like, don't freaking do this to me. So, and then all of a sudden, like the other hand comes up and it's not gloved and it's white. Because I'm thinking gloved hand, it might be, Samuel L. Jackson. It might be Mace Windu, because he had a hand cut off too. So like if the other hand comes up and it's a black man's hand, I'm like, Mace Windu. He's like, I got the Force, mother fathead. I'm saying, like, I was thinking, like, I would have been cool with either. Either one would have, I would have been like, yay. But like he keeps on fighting. I'm seeing all this stuff that he's doing, and he comes walking up, and then I see the young face. I'm like, this is somebody who's CGI'd. Don't tell me it's Mark Hamill. And all of a sudden, bloop, like I saw the belt, the belt buckle, and he's all in black, and I'm like, oh my God. And when he flipped up the freaking hood, I'm not joking, I started crying. I was standing up, and I'm like, go back and look. I'm like, no, I have to move. Like I lost control over pretty much everything. And I'm like, wow, I'm surprised I didn't pee myself. I'm not joking. It's not a thing I usually do, but I think it's something that we'd all, be okay with if it happened here. Like freaking Luke Skywalker, holy crap. I completely freaked out when I saw this. So when I saw that the episode was going to be called The Rescue, I genuinely expected, like, there's going to be a heartbreaking moment. There's going to be a swoon of music or orchestral, and, Baby Yoda, Yiddle, F Grogu, F that name. Grogu's going to reach up. Yiddle, damn it. What are they doing to me? He's going to reach up and be like, ah, like that. It's going to sound like Dad or something. I'm like, it's going to be a beautiful thing. That's not what actually got me, though. We got to see that fight between Din and that one Dark Trooper, badass as hell. I did have to go back because he had that freaking bow staff perfectly behind him. Also, one of my very early, I called them podcasts, but they were live streams. One of my very early live streams, I'm just going to point this out. I said multiple times whenever, the just science or because science guy. He's like, oh yeah, lightsaber could definitely go through Captain America's shield. Oh, go through it like butter and blah. Shut up. Shut up, wannabe science guy. Because at the end of the day, it's not just knowing science, it's also about understanding science fiction. And if we've got all these different metals, and now it's just, Beskar, but all these different metals that can, protect against a lightsaber blow, well, guess what? You know what I'm saying? Why couldn't Captain America's shield be one of them? It's unique after all. So yeah, ha ha hardy ha ha. Um, this was a beautiful episode, and I knew it couldn't possibly be over because it didn't end the same way that other ones end. First off, we know what's going to happen in the next season because that dark saber thing. Oh, listen, Giancarlo Esposito, Moff Gideon, the guy talks, and man, does he ever talk a lot. And I think like they really love the idea of him freaking talking. I get it. Sometimes like the talking was a little bit too much. There was one part where he said something, and I actually got like I threw my hands up. I'm like, oh my god, shut up! Like, he's just I'm sure that she's going up there, and she's probably panicking. You mean freaking out? Because I'm not there. Because I'm here. That was what it was. When he said, because I'm here, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Will you please just shut up? But I was really hoping he was going to fight him with the Darksaber, and he did, and he kicked his butt. Well, Din kicked Moss butt. And then, of course, that's what's going to set it off with Bo-Katan now. Now, I mean, they could just thumb wrestle. Obviously, they're not going to freaking thumb wrestle, but this is going to have to be a thing. It doesn't have to be combat to the death, clearly, because he didn't kill Moff Gideon, and it's still the Darksaber still passes on to him, right? So at this point, I want to see bang that this is what happens. I want to see just this fight. I want to see how it goes. I want to see this little bit of rivalry, for at least a couple of episodes, because she's going to have to challenge him. And he's seen that Boba owns his armor, and it's definitely his armor by right, whatever Bo-Katan says. Bo-Katan thinks that she's appropriate Mandalorian because, well, I'm sorry when it's destroyed, but you're offending, but you're weird because you just watch and you keep the thing on. Yeah. Everybody's got their own little thing. So I guess he's kind of looking at it as like he's evolving as a character. Is he going to keep the helmet off? I honestly don't know. If he does, the armorer's still around. What's going to happen then when he comes up and meets her again, right? So there's a lot to be said about what the future of the show is going to be. I'm going to get to those questions in a hot moment because I'm coming up to the very last freaking thing now, and that is the after credits scene. We saw that those images didn't show up of the stills and everything. So after the credits, including when it said Mark Hamill, I'm like, I started tearing up again a little bit. I'm saying, we saw Bib Fortuna, the Boba's old, not translator, but he could translate, the Twi'lek male, right? He was down there, and he was much fatter now, and he's in charge of I'm not there yet, in charge of Jabba's palace because Jabba's dead, choked to death by a chain by a half-naked Carrie Fisher. I'm saying, and then he comes down there with his girl Ming Na Wen and just boom, 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 starts shooting up a bunch of people and sets his carbine on the side and just sits down on the throne. And next, we're going to get the Book of Boba. Now, unfortunately, it's going to be in December of 2021. That's right, my peepa deeps. 1 freaking year from now. 1 year from now, we have to wait for this, which means, because I've reported on this in my podcast, the Comic Book University podcast, every Sunday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, free to everyone wherever you get your podcasts. I mentioned that The Mandalorian 3 is scheduled to come out at season 3, is scheduled to come out after the Boba Fett series, which means we've got to wait even longer now. I understand, though. I understand. It probably took a really long time for Kathleen Kennedy to get behind the idea of potentially changing the universe. the galaxy at the very least, whatever. And I understand. I really do. I understand. You got to remember, as much as people may hate her, I don't know why you hate her. I don't know her personally. Do you? But whatever. You might hate this about her or that about her or whatever. She was handpicked by George Lucas. So I personally don't think that George Lucas is some god. I mean, he did the prequels after all. If you like the prequels, cool. Rich Silver's going to be along at any minute and be like, people who dislike the prequels, they are posers. That's fine. That's fine. I'm good with it. Maybe people who suck up to George Lucas are tenderfeet. That's directed right at you, brother. Love you, man. But I genuinely look at it as, or bootlickers. He always says bootlickers, but I genuinely look at it as George Lucas getting behind this. Remember, George Lucas, he is on record saying that he didn't like the idea that there was any kind of a metal, anything that would protect against or resist a lightsaber. That was supposed to be the one quality about the Jedi that nobody else had, besides the ability of the Force. Originally, before the Force was as cool as it was, right? Is the idea of, hey man, this lightsaber can cut through anything. Nothing can defend against a lightsaber. So he was technically against the idea of Beskar and whatnot. And it finally took Kathleen Kennedy to okay it. And she would have had to okay that for with Favreau and Filoni. She would have had to okay that. So, and the idea that this protege, this next in line, hey, that says something, right? George is behind this. He's okay with it. Favreau, I don't know what he did, what deal with the devil he made to get Mark Hamill to come back like that, but I'm so glad he did. And Mark Hamill gave an interview not too long ago for one of the movies he's doing where they were like, what do you think about the show? Oh, I haven't had the chance to watch it yet, and I really just don't watch the shows like all that. I've got other things that I'm doing. I'm sorry. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I pose questions back to the fans when they ask me, how do I like this? I'm like, well, that sounds interesting. What do you think about such and such? And he like deflects it just, because he doesn't watch this stuff. Right. But they said, oh, what do you think about Boba Fett coming back? He's like, oh, I think that's cool. And I guess they've got a handle on it. I guess they know what they're doing. So, like he's always been cool with that, and he hasn't blasted anything that this show has done. And I don't know how long he's been signed on to do this, but holy crap, could you imagine being there and Mark Hamill comes walking in to the costume room, to the changing room? Holy crap, that is great. When he comes walking into wardrobe and goes in for makeup, and you're like, am I going to be sharing a scene with Mark Hamill specifically as Luke Skywalker? Holy crap. Holy crap. This is amazing. This is out of control amazing what the show is doing. So I understand that it maybe took this long to realize what the show is capable of, the number of people that are going to be drawn back into this. One of the things we talk about on my podcast just a little bit is our Christmas present from Star Wars universe is that on Christmas Day, the 25th of December, for anybody who doesn't celebrate in another country, on the 25th of December, we're going to get a return or season 2 of the Disney Gallery featuring the Mandalorian. So we had, if you didn't watch it, you should definitely go back and watch it. I think it was 9 episodes, at least 8, but I think it was actually 9 episodes of behind the scenes. They talked about the cast and crew one day. They talked about the lore. They talked about the music. Even that one was actually really exciting. All these different episodes that they did, it was freaking amazing, So the idea that what do you call it, that this is going to return, we're going to see a bunch of behind the scenes stuff here. I think that's absolutely great. Also, saying that you don't think it was, I promise you that wasn't Mark Hamill, I guess, but it did say Mark Hamill in the credits, so it was at the very least his voice anyway. What do you call it? Does anybody remember Ant-Man and the Wasp, that movie? They made Michael Douglas look super young. And it was, I mean, for the most part, you could tell it was CGI, yet it was still really good. And anybody who's seen Michael Douglas in the younger movies that he was in, I mean, it looked good. So I wouldn't be too terribly shocked to find out that maybe they did a deep fakes. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But whatever. I'm not here to get into all that. I just know that his name was in the credits. So um I yeah, this tripped me out. Let's see some of the things that that you guys are talking about. Bow. You guys better watch that end credit scene. It does have to be the death. The Darksaber thing is a religious ideology for the Mandalorian. Have the throne. She still can't wield its direct power, but not its power over Mandalore. Yeah, understood. One step. And it makes sense. It really does. It's just, at the same time, don't forget when she sat there and said, "Oh, they're zealots." It's like he's one of them, the zealots that they won't take the helmet off and stuff like that. Granted, she's the one that said, "Stop, relax, leave the guy alone." But she still got her zealotous ideas. Also, all of them do. Also, what happened to the guy? There were only the two Mandalorian chicks there, right? What happened to the guy? There was the third one, huh? Because would have been cool to see one, two, three, four, five. I had to remember Boba Fett technically. Would have been cool to see five Mandalorian armors go walking down and just boop 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 boop, just taking everybody out. Damn, that would have been cool. Great tactics too. The two who can't fly keep walking forward. The two who can, boop, got the rear, got the flank, boom, take them out. Watch your six. I loved it. I think it was the other Mando girl who got shot. Oh yeah, it was Sasha Banks who got shot. I don't hate her. I think TLJ was ballsy. TLJ would have worked if Finn completed his sacrifice. Then she let Duel of the Fates be episode 9. I don't think Mark did anything but voice. Oh yeah, it's a possibility. Swear to God, that's Sebastian Stan. Might have been. Did anybody see Sebastian Stan in the credits? I didn't. CGI face, definitely CGI face. Of course it was. Boom. What are they going to do with Mandalorian season 3? Oh, well, George, like I was saying earlier, I'm positive this can have a lot to do with the Bo-Katan thing. I mean, plus who knows? Honestly, who knows what else? But the show is called The Mandalorian. It's not called Yiddle. I mean, Grogu. And when R2D2 showed up too, I couldn't get overly excited because I don't really care too much because Kenny Baker, we lost Kenny Baker, the original R2D2, about 4 years ago, So, what do you call it? But it was kind of cool to see Skywalker, the thing, and Baby Yoda again. All together. It's like I just expected to see a swamp at some place. Plus, when Yiddle was looking up at R2, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, he's going to grab a stick and he's going to start beating you with it, and he's going to start doing all these crazy things and talking like Kermit the Frog. It's going to be great. um, I hope Grogu Yiddle learns to waddle quicker because he has another temple to escape from, right? You better move, bruh. It's irrelevant. You're right. Sabine Wren gave Bo the Darksaber without a fight. Did she? Okay, I got to go back and watch that. I know that was in season 4, and I watched season 4, but I wasn't as invested in the show back then. So I'm going to have to check that out. Yeah, exactly why her arc will be interesting because she has to violate her code one way or the other. Do you think, like me, that the episode was genuinely the best arc? Yes, 100%. Oh, well, more than like Empire? More than the original 3? No, definitely not. But it was easily up there with it. 100%. I believe it was absolutely up there with it. Like I said, I consider this the natural successor to the original trilogy, you know? Um, Man, I'm going to be talking a bit about Star Wars coming up pretty soon because there's a lot more coming out. Freaking, what's his name? George Lucas. He goes and doubles down on the dialogue in the prequels. Again, if you like the prequels, it's cool. It's cool. I ain't mad at you, but I'm not a fan of the prequels for the most part at all. I mean, there's definitely some good parts of it. Qui-Gon was awesome. There's a bunch of really cool things in it, a whole lot. Darth Maul, but the dialogue. Everybody says that they didn't like the dialogue between Padme and Anakin in Revenge of the Sith. For me, it was a lot of the dialogue in Attack of the Clones. Like that was miserable. Hey, Obi-Wan, what do you say? That guy in the beginning. Like, can this not exist? Can none of this happen, please? It was horrible. All of that dialogue was horrible, and yet George Lucas doubles down on it. And he's just like, no, you don't understand how the movie was made to be, and blah blah blah. But okay, well, I don't understand, and you don't understand what we want. So there's that. Like, God, man, if this guy directs himself, he's killing it. Boba is getting that TV series. So the Book of Boba, and I don't know how that's going to go. Could that just be his missions? Could it be him training other, you know, young bounty hunters to do what he's going to do? Could it be him making the Book of Boba? Could it actually be him founding his empire? Because this looks like the beginning of an empire. You know what I'm saying? Sitting alone on a throne. I mean, he got there before Conan did. He got to his throne before Conan did. It's no Aquilonia. Tatooine is no Aquilonia, but it's not too far distant from it. Anyway, guys, this was absolutely amazing. I cannot say how amazing this was, except it was freaking amazing. Check out the podcast coming up Sunday at 5 a.m. It's going to have a lot of stuff, including the Star Wars stuff. Also, didn't want to go crazy with the spoilers from what we're talking about there, but there's a lot of stuff going to be there. Maybe that's the fate of Cody. Mark 1 and 2. Cody. I'm trying to remember who Cody is. I'll get there. Being 30, can't relate to Empire the way you can. Love it, but imagine if you. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Oh, of course, yeah. Similar to Infinity War. It was amazing. Mind you, I wasn't. When did that come out? Yeah, I was alive when they came out, but way too young to actually watch movies. 78, I think, was the first one, because 83 was when Return of the Jedi came out. That I got to see in a theater, but I was too young to really get it. So 1980, I would have been 5 when Empire Strikes Back came out. I didn't watch that until I was much older, like closer to 10. But anyway, yeah, Cody, the Obi-Wan clone commander. Yeah, okay, I remember Trooper Cody, Commander Cody. Anyway, okay, cool. So yeah, all of them. All right, guys, we're just here wasting air. So I'll talk to all you guys later. Go and watch it again because I know I am. Actually, I've got to take a quiz first. After the quiz, I'm going to see you guys again. I'll talk to you later. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Thanks for showing up. Class dismissed.